Hello and welcome to the Blackout, where I get to talk to amazing people who do amazing things. And today, I have Kaytee from the change room. I always say the changing rooms. I made sure I practiced. Thanks for coming to the Blackout today.
Thanks for having me.
So, change room. Let's start from there. I mean, your Instagram is great.
Thank you.
Love it. Are you the one that curates it, or do you have?
Yeah, no, it's just me. I do all the. I'm mostly on Instagram. I do Facebook as well, but it's not as nice.
Yeah, Instagram. Like your Instagram. I remember the first time I saw it. Like a friend tagged it, and I was like, I wish I wore dresses.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they look so amazing. So how did it start?
So I was in sort of like a transition period. The business I was working at like shut down. But I always knew that I wasn't really like fit for the traditional like 9 to 5 kind of job. And I always wanted to own my own business, but I didn't know what. And I loved thrifting. So it was like, it kind of just like fit together. I was like, well, what if I made a business out of this? And then like, is that feasible? And then, so I started Seed, and that's kind of where I worked. And I originally was going to do like a thrift store, like brick and mortar, but COVID kind of was like,
So did he start before COVID or?
Well, I was going into Seed, like I had applied, but then I had got accepted, and then like COVID just happened. So they were like, we don't know what's gonna happen, sort of thing. And they kind of asked us like, if you want to go ahead, you can. If you don't, if you want to wait, you can do that too. And I kind of just said like, there's no better time than right now. Like I'm at home, like stuck at home doing nothing. So yeah, I just went through with it, and I kind of just like worked through like they say in Seed, it's like your baby, right? So, and it does change a lot. Like I didn't think I was going to be online, but it ended up being the best option.
No, you're right. So Seed, I can't remember what it's Center of Entrepreneurial something. But I have actually been through the program, and it's amazing. And well, I did it in person. So it wasn't online. But how was the experience of Seed for you?
Good. I mean, I'd assume it was different probably than what a lot of people, but it was kind of this cool experience where we were all kind of going through this like world-changing thing, and it kind of gave us this space for us all to come together. I feel like it was different in that way and almost better. And also, like I said, any excuse to wear my pajamas, like that. If I could stay home and do it and sleep with my cat all day, that was fantastic. So yeah, I loved it. And like, I think if I didn't do Seed, like I wouldn't have been asked those questions that really make you think.
Right.
Yeah. Like,
right. Because you know what? When you start your business, it's like you're just winging it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I had like an iron grip on that idea of having a thrift store, and I wasn't going to let go of it. And then, Paul from Seed, like he really asked those questions like, but is this going to work? Like he asked the questions you don't really want to hear, but it made me really rethink like, yeah, in order for a business to be successful, you kind of have to let go of your original idea.
No, the pandemic changed a lot of things. I mean, apart from having to go online and all, but how was the first few months of when that very first shutdown happened? What was the experience like for you?
Oh, not great. Like part of me was like, it started out kind of like, oh, I don't have to socialize. Like, this is kind of awesome. Like, I can organize stuff that I've been putting off. But then, like, I'm a person that's, like, really anxious. So then it started, like, the longer I was going without seeing people, and I was like, I don't know if this business is going to work. And, like, I'm not getting to see my family who lives in Cape Breton. And it was, like, it was rough for a really long time. And as I'm sure it was for a lot of people. But then I started to see the light. I know, like, the first year here specifically got a little bit better in the summer. So I think if it didn't get like that, I'm not sure how I would have been. But yeah, I came through on the other end, so I can't say it was.
And then you came through with a business too. The name, like, did you always have that name when you?
Oh my, no, I struggled so hard with finding a name. Like, so my main thing is I wanted to be environmentally friendly. Like that's my main like focus. And so I was trying to figure out like a way to like play that into the name, and I couldn't think of anything. Everything kind of felt like cliche. And then my mom was on the phone. She's like, well, what about the change room? Like being the change. Like, so it's like the change room and the change being the change. And I was like, have you been sitting on that this whole time? Like, I've been up at 2 a.m. like scribbling names. Like, and so like I knew immediately after she said it, I was like, that's going to be, it's catchy. Like it has both the meanings that I wanted. So no, I didn't have it right from the start, but like once I heard it, I was like, that's it.
Thank you, Mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to seed then. I mean, what things, like, what was an average week at seed out? What things would you have to do?
So we
apart from answering Paul's questions,
yeah,
of course.
yeah. So we just did a lot of like sitting and talking like with the other people in the program, and kind of just like we did a lot of market research, like a lot of, you got to get out and asking people, and people are sitting at home right now, so they're more apt to answer questions. So I did a lot of polls and a lot of questions and a lot of getting on Facebook and being like, do you shop secondhand? Would you want someone to go do that shopping for you? That sort of thing. And just like asking question after question after question to try to get really to the bottom of like what the need was for people. So I would say that was the majority of my experience. I do feel like seed is definitely more for people that are brick and mortar than it is for online. So I did struggle a bit there. But yeah, the people in the program are definitely the best help. Like they tell you that right from the beginning, like you guys will be your own teachers amongst each other. And I did find that for sure.
Okay, so you're going through seed, then setting up the change room itself. What was the process of doing that?
It was like, well, I live in a trailer, right? So it's not a very big space. It's a nice trailer. It's big for a trailer, but it doesn't have a lot of room. So I was like, how am I going to make this happen? Like, so it started out, I was just taking pictures like in my living room, and like they were not good at all. Well, actually, I had painted this old barn door and I put it on a platform, and I had painted it all out and put the change room on it, and I was taking pictures on that, but I was like, oh, this is getting to be too much. So then I started doing modeling, like getting people to model clothes for me. But then with COVID and stuff and like trying to organize like people to come and do that, it just kind of put me on this schedule where I could never get anything done. So then eventually I started taking pictures of myself, and then I was like, well, this is working, but it's not really looking all that great. So then eventually I gutted out one of my spare rooms and painted it all over, and it's still not perfect, but it'll have to do for now. But if you've seen it, it is just like filled with clothes. It's just like a throw up of rainbow and pattern.
but and then did you know, like, was Instagram your first? Was it always where you wanted to go?
Yeah. So like I was always told like get a website, but like I feel like Instagram does so well is because you're on there anyway, and it's just like in this day and age everybody's just like looking for that next like swipe, and so I never actually did a website. So I did the Instagram, and it's like attached to my Facebook, so when I post there I just post to my Facebook, and that was mostly for like sharing sake, so like my parents share it because you can't really share on Instagram all that much. But yeah, Instagram was always like my main thing, and it's worked out so far.
It looks great. It looks great. It looks great. Do you, so Instagram, being part of Facebook, they're always changing and they're always copying things, and they're now trying to be TikTok and stuff. How do you feel about the reels?
It's hard. It's hard because I'm like, I like to stay behind the camera and like not have my face shown. Like I'm not, some people have that gift and I just don't have it, where they can just like talk and be entertaining. So the reels has been difficult. I've tried a few, but it's like, yeah, you really have to keep up with Instagrams. Like they're really trying to push that TikTok thing, and it's hard. And I am scared. Like if they push it out, like I don't know. That's the tricky thing about Instagram, is that it's not guaranteed, right? Like at any day it could just go away. My account could go away, whatever. But yeah, they're really trying to push that TikTok thing, and I don't know if I can.
No, well, the good thing now is one of what's their names? Anyway, the big family, Kardashians.
Oh yes,
they came out against make Instagram again, something. I was like, okay, well, they're one of the huge have highest number of followers and stuff there. So I guess Instagram might listen. But then you set it up, you figure out what works, right? How did you get the people in, like the customers?
So community is like, I think, such a big thing within the thrift community. So I had like a lot of big people behind me that were sharing my stuff, and I think that was like the biggest help.
Mm.
Obviously, like sponsored ads and stuff, but I don't find they do as well as when like somebody they know and trust is saying, "Hey, this girl's got something. Go follow her." Like, so I think like partnerships and just like being involved in the community is like the best way. That's kind of how I got the followers, and I kept the followers because I love just like being real, being like if I'm having a shitty day and I'm not feeling it, I'm like I post, I'm like, hey guys, I'm not feeling it today, like, and I think they respect that.
I do too. So that's one of the things that I love about your Instagram, and it's scary for me. Like my Instagram is bare. There's nothing. It's a lot, but there's really nothing about me there. And then I read some of your captions and like, it's like, doesn't it get scary though?
Like, it you do have to put yourself out there, I feel like, and sometimes I'm like, oh god, like people are gonna think I sound like an idiot, like,
no, you
for
don't.
sure. But when you get that feedback, it feels so good. Like when people are like, I love that I can come over here and like feel seen and heard, and like when I see clothes on your body type, it makes me feel like so seen, and like I never see my clothes on like plus size people. So it's like, yeah, when you get that feedback telling people, and I do a lot, like my customers are really good where they'll tag me in like their pictures and say like, this is my favorite piece, like I have so many pieces from these people, and like that makes it all worth it to put yourself out there. Yeah.
Okay. I'll try.
Yeah.
So, and then you put it on Instagram. How does it work exactly? Do they message you? Do they buy it off there?
Yeah, so I like take all my pictures, then I load them up like as drafts. I usually do like a drop. I tell people, I set a reminder like, first come first serve, you got to be here. And then people just message me right away. And I do this thing where like you can like leave a box open and kind of just like add to it for shipping, because a lot of people buy like one thing with shipping is so crazy now, like Canada Post is insane. So like I let people just like leave a box open, so like I'm so familiar with all my customers now, they're just like this one, and I'm like, okay, I'll add it to your box. It's a super simple process, and a lot of my customers are repeat customers, so it's like it's not even a big process.
No, I'm learning that thing. Loyalty is what makes a business going. So I was learning I was taking a marketing course, and you have to do awareness, control, but loyalty, right? That's where you kind of want to be. And when you have repeat customers, whatever it is you're doing in your business is definitely working.
Yeah, and they say it's more expensive to get new customers than it is to keep
the ones you have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, that's very true. So, and do you also deliver in the city?
Yeah, so I do. It used to be cheaper. I started at like $3 for delivery, and I wish I could still be doing that, but obviously gas is like
gas is insane.
It's awful.
When COVID started, there was a time that gas was
like 50 cents. Oh my god, they were like, take the gas, take it. We don't want it. Yeah. Yes. And I was driving a Toyota Yaris at the time, so it's like this big. And then I went to the Kia Soul, and I'm like, oh, this is brutal. And then just like driving around Halifax in itself, like I should be paid it's insane. So I do $8 and within HRM, because like I'm from Sackville, so like half hour each way. Right, it's hard. Right. But that is like a big thing that I find a lot of my customers say to me is like, I don't buy from people, like, because I drive the bus. So it's like I could never, like, even going to a thrift store and buying stuff, it's like hard to track that back on a bus. So the delivery, like, I don't think I'll ever get rid of that, because it's such a big it's a big thing for people.
Okay, so I love that. Like, I love your Instagram, and then seeing the clothes in person is friggin' amazing. Yeah. Do you have a process for how you pick things you sell?
Yeah, so it's kind of simple for me, because I just look for the brightest, most colorful thing on the rack. But it does, like, there's like this very fine line between ugly grandma and super cool, and that is the line that I am constantly riding. So I find those colorful pieces, and then I have to sit there and do the, would a grandma wear this, or could someone make this look cool? Which, I mean, a lot of the time it ends up being grandma, because like that's what I tell people my style is like toddler meets grandma. And that's my style, and I stick by that. But it's pretty simple for me, because I just go find the colorful pieces, and like now it's so easy that I don't even have to like look through things. It's just like this automatic thing where I know texture, I know quality just by like the feel of things. And then I just dump it all in the cart, and then at the end I make my boyfriend stand by, and we stand there and do the looking for stains and rips check. And then we do the process of elimination, and
right. And then do you have a specific day you go, or?
I avoid Tuesdays, I'll tell you that. It's Seniors Day. It gets violent in there. They don't mess around. And somehow I always end up there. I'm like, is it Tuesday? No. But my partner works 5 on, 5 off. So we're going for like 5 steady days, like when he gets up. Because he loves thrifting too. So we just go and do our rounds. And luckily there's multiple value villages here. Like in Sydney, there's only one. So you like never find anything. But yeah, we do our rounds when he's off work.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know that about seniors.
I think everywhere is seniors. Like Tuesday, just stay home on Tuesdays. Just stay home.
Okay. So do you ever have to like do any sewing to the thing, or?
Yeah, so there's like this process in which I say, is it worth it? So like sometimes things are just too far gone and I leave them there, and somebody might be able to do something with them. But if I think it's worth it, I will take it home and I'll mend it. Like seams will be ripped open, or sometimes I'll take a piece I know I can't fix, but I know people will still buy it because it's just that cool. But I do a lot of hand sewing. I suck at machine sewing, but I'm really good at hand sewing. So I do a lot of that. And then I also do a little bit of like bleach dyeing and that sort of thing. Like,
wait, what is that?
So it's like tie dyeing, but you just do it with the bleach, kind of like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And just some funky things like that. But it is time consuming. So I try to avoid that.
Okay, so now the one that kills, me, and I think most people that start a business, pricing.
Yeah, that's hard. I did a lot of research on it, and it's so hard for my business because you can say you're going to mark it up X, Y, and Z, but at the end of the day, it's like, this is a piece that nobody maybe will ever find again. So it's like, it's all like supply and demand, right? Like if someone's going to pay this amount of money, like you'd be kind of silly to not charge this amount of money. But if I pay like there's some thrift stores where I'm paying like $1 a piece, then I'm not going to charge exorbitant amounts of money. It really just depends. Like that's the hardest thing. Like people ask me that a lot, and it's not like a set in stone formula. It really comes down to each individual piece. Like, did I have to soak it in like stain remover and do all this like crazy stuff to get it to where it is, or was it just kind of like a steamed and it's done and ready to sell? Yeah. It's a process.
Okay, so this is a business you've been running a couple of years now. Were you doing anything like a job?
Yeah, so I was a manager at a crystal jewelry store in Dartmouth. And I was doing that for a bit, and before that I had just been steadily like in school. Pretty much. And like that job was fine, but it's like I said, it's just like I knew it was never me. And I was just kind of like going through the motions. Yeah, retail is not for me.
but yeah, one thing. So I think, and I have this weird theory that not everyone should go into business. And I think when you should go into business, it kind of just speaks to you and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, was there part of you that always knew you wanted to do something for yourself?
Yeah, there was always this part like where I couldn't understand how people were just doing all this work for somebody else. Like I see these people like dedicate their lives to businesses, and like I commend that, but I just could never imagine myself doing it and coming home and not feeling that like fulfillment. So I was always trying to seek that. Like I know they tell you to like don't mix your hobbies and jobs and stuff, but like I have never found that this job, like it's always been just as fulfilling as the first day. And I feel good about that, and I like that, and I would rather come home like with $20 and be happy than make like that's just my like my morals. Like, and for some people that's not it. Some people want to make big bucks, and that's what's going to make them happy. But if I can sit home with my cat and drink tea and like and list clothes on Instagram, like that's a life for me.
So the change room it's fulfilling for you.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I feel like I'm in a growth spot right now where like something big I feel like is gonna happen soon. Like it's kind of been like going steady and it's been good, but like there was always like a plan for something bigger, like maybe a brick or mortar someday, or my mom just started a business and I might start doing some collabs with her and stuff. But I feel like it's still fulfilling, but I feel like it's breaking out of its current skin. It's gonna be
something that stood out for me in this chat we're having is you and your mom. Like, how you guys must be really close.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. I mean, besides the fact that we look almost identical,
No
like, and
way.
we've gotten that, but yeah, like I talk to my mom more than anybody. She's like my best friend, and she's one of my biggest like inspos for this whole thing because she sews herself, so that's her business is making clothes. But yeah, she's always been a big
And she like,
inspiration.
you need to learn how to sew because you're like, I can hand sew, but I'm not going to use the machine.
Well, no, she laughs at me because I managed to mess up literally the easiest sewing. It's so funny. Like, it's bad. So whenever I have anything that's like slightly complicated, I'm like, you can do this. You can do this. This is your job now. Yeah.
Okay. So what else? I know you say something big is coming with this collab, but are there some, I guess, plans in the pipes?
Not exactly. I am trying to do more markets. I have one of those coming up on the 10th. I'm doing the Gottingen like Uptown Festival. And I really do love those. Like I was really worried to do them because like I said, I didn't think retail was for me. But it's very different when you love what you're doing. And when you love your customers and like they're people that you like would get along with in real life. There's something different about that. So I did the first market and I was like, why do I not hate my life right now? Why is this like really good?
Yeah.
And then like everyone after that has just been like better and better and people coming up and just like talking and telling you like they love your stuff. Like it's a very different than working for somebody else doing retail.
How do you prepare for a market versus doing it online?
It's like, it's a lot of work, but it's almost like better work in a way because like I hate taking the pictures. That's probably my least favorite part. There's like all the editing and all this stuff and I'm like warm and I'm like, oh, I hate this. I need like 6 cups of iced coffee. But like with the markets, it's like a lot of tagging and like getting stuff ready to like go. Like the lifting is the hardest part and my partner helps me with that. So it's like more work, but like it's different work. It's different work for sure.
How long is the market? Typical hours?
Probably like 4 hours is probably like the average for markets. It all depends on what's going on, what it's for.
Okay. Man, I'm enjoying the chat. I don't want to keep you, so I'm gonna ask you this last question though.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing this thing you love. It's keeping you going, it's inspiring, it's fulfilling. And someone is out there is watching and they think, okay, they might want to do the same thing. Maybe not this, but kind of follow something they've wanted to do. What advice would you give that person?
I would definitely just say go for it because if it fails, if it crashes and burns, like at least you won't sit there with that regret of like not trying. I would say ask lots of questions and find sort of like somebody within whatever field it is to kind of bounce questions off of. Because that was like the biggest help for me is having somebody inside the business being like, this works, this doesn't work, this works. But like ultimately, just go for it. That's what I would say because like if I didn't, my life would be on a completely different track right now. And I have like COVID kind of to thank for that. And just kind of like everything went a certain way for a reason, I believe. And yeah, if I didn't take that jump, things would be really different.
Wow. Thank you. Oh, so what's the Instagram handle?
It's the change.room is on Instagram, and I think it's change.room on Facebook. But if you type in the change room, you'll find me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kaytee.
Yeah, thank you.